How
Great
are you?
To see you. I'm doing well.
Nashipai.
Yes.
Kwani ni Masaini?
Masaini, yep.
Wow.
Yes.
Huko mnasalimiana aje? Kongoi?
Super.
Oh, yeah. Wasalimia hapo wako hapo.
Super. Enda super bogin. Yeah, that's a common one.
Awesome.
Yes.
I mean, Wamasai na Wakikuyu ni watu walikuwa karibu sana.
Very much so.
And we thank God for that.
Absolutely.
Others karibu sana.
Asante.
I knew I've never met you, but I think I've heard about you.
Right.
Miaka kadhaa imepita.
Almost 5 years now.
Exactly.
Almost 6 years.
Yes. So when I heard about you, nikasema, niletewe huyu dada.
Right.
Because I know it is not easy.
No.
Well.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
not easy.
Niambie, how have you been?
I've been all right. I've been doing really, really well.
Right.
It's been almost 6 years, and I'm doing great. God has been good.
Where?
Yes.
I mean, now tell me, ulikuja America lini?
I came in the US, it's been so many years. Jeremy, the thing with the US is like, before you know it, it's been 50 years.
Yes.
I was just thinking the other day, I came here in 2005, right after high school.
Wow.
Yes, it's been a long time. My brother was counting. Yeah, so I got really lucky. Right after high school, I got a scholarship. And so I took the flight and I landed in Chicago.
Wow.
Yep.
Na hizi scholarship, I always hear people asking me scholarship. Mnazitoanga wapi?
So I got really lucky. I grew up in a small village in Kenya, obviously rural. So mimi singeipata scholarship. I can tell you that for a fact.
Right.
But then I went to Moi Girls Senior, and from Moi Girls Senior, I connected to a non-profit organization. And so the non-profit organization was working with USAID, United States Agency for International Development.
Right.
They do a lot of work in sub-Saharan Africa, in education, in healthcare, women empowerment. And so it just so happened, I was one of the recipients of the scholarship.
Awesome.
I think some of the, I did my graduate school here at UW Madison.
Right.
But there's a lot of resources on the internet. I think, I encourage even my relatives, looking at universities and really finding out what you want, whether that's PhD, professional development, and look up schools like UW Madison and other universities. There's a lot of resources online and ways that you could get financial assistance to go to school. Yeah.
Oh, so watu wetu shinda ni watu wetu, wanataka kufanyiwa kila kitu.
Wanataka kufanyiwa kila kitu.
Right.
I can tell you that for a fact, wanataka kufanyiwa kila kitu. Yeah, mimi nimefanyia my family, 2 siblings. So I think wanataka kufanyiwa kila kitu, but also lack of information. I mean, information is powerful.
Right.
Knowing where to look, finding the right connections, it's absolutely powerful. And so I think there's a combination of Annie's idea, but also not taking the initiative to really try and connect, whether that's in social media, Google, and all that. Yeah.
Well, so kama unataka hii mambo ya university, it's all over there. Hapa America hawafichangi.
No.
I think they put everything out there.
Yes.
Hata nimeona kwa kazi zinawekwa tu mpaka kwa Facebook kama unataka.
Yeah, LinkedIn, everywhere. Marketplace, Zico, and it's not just American. I think that's also another thing. Kila mtu anataka kuja hapa, Australia, Europe, Canada, they're all over.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you ulikuja hapo ulisomea nini?
I did biochemistry. I did a biochemistry degree. My goal was to go to medical school. I wanted to go and do something in the line of medicine.
Right.
I changed, took a little detour, and I ended up in public health, and I actually now work in the research in oncology. And so I kind of found myself there, but I did public health, and now I focus in clinical oncology.
Okay,
yeah.
Good for you. So now let's talk about this, because those 5 years we are talking about,
right?
Your life ni kama sasa ilikuja kwa mwanga sana.
Exactly.
Because what happened, I mean, ni kitu ilishangaza watu wengi sana.
I know.
And actually that is why I invited you. And in fact, I was worried because I didn't know whether you'll be able to share this.
I think I'm now in a place, and actually if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I shared my life on social media. And so with a few following that I have, I always shared, you share those moments, graduation and engagement and wedding and a child and just happy moments. My husband and I like to do things together. And so I have shared my story on social media. I have spoken. I think when it happened, first it was very tragic, right? It was very, very tragic. Obviously a Kenyan in the US.
Yes.
Na Wakenya kweli wanajua kupeleka story.
I know, yes.
If you want your story itaenda tu iende. And so I think it was how it happened. And then of course Facebook, tunamjua huyo msichana, tunajua huyo jamaa, and then we have our Kenyan here. And so and I was pregnant, Jeremy. I was 9 months pregnant.
No.
I buried my husband and I went to the hospital to have a child. I think that's probably what it was.
Jesus.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that you were pregnant.
I was 9 months pregnant. I had a 2-year-old and I was 9 months pregnant. We were expecting a baby.
So ni kama mlikuwa mmeona muda gani?
I was 9 months pregnant. I had a few days between burying him and giving birth to the child.
So ndio nauliza mlikuwa mmeishi na yeye pamoja for how long?
Also, when I came to Chicago, and that story, you know, I'm always really happy telling that part because, and I have to say this, Jeremy, actually, one of the things that we say Pata scholarship and the US and the Europe and the Canada and the whatever. But the struggles that international students go through,
right.
I cannot even begin to tell you. Cultural struggles, missing your family, you know, differences in food and weather. So imagine me, I grew up in Magadi Soda.
Right.
It's like Arizona. And then I landed in Chicago at -25. It is such a struggle. And so I had a really difficult time.
Right.
I was telling we have an international advisor, mi narudi nyumbani. I can't. You know, I lost so much weight. I was so unhappy. And then kwa hiyo misukosuko, there used to be this website likunaitwa mashada.com. I don't know. I think the OGs know it. It was a website for international students to connect, right? And so one of my friends was in Boston at a time. She was in Boston University, connected with my husband's younger brother, kwa hiyo mashada.com.
Right.
And then long story short, it's like I have one of my friends in Chicago, nenda kamsalimie, right? So this was in 2006 around. That's when I met my husband. So I was just, as an international student, really having a rough time in college, even though I had some of my friends and I have 2 other friends and tulipata scholarship pamoja. So there was that familiarity in people that I know, friends that I can talk to. But so then Alan, his name was Alan. Alan comes, so this was in 2006, and we met. And so from 2006 to 2019, when he passed away, we've been together that long. Yeah, so that was about 13 years, 14 years, yeah.
So sasa hapa wewe, kwa sababu what people say that alikufia kwa barabara. So yeye alikuwa anafanya hiyo biashara ya maroli ama?
He was running a business, and I you know, we shouldn't go too much into details of what happened because it was such a tragic way. But for that visit, they were actually on our way to visit a relative in Texas. So his brother was here, walikuwa na ndugu yake. We had just come from a family vacation, and so they got here. We had a few days for New Year, and then they took off that they were going to visit. And Gilbert, that was his first time in the US, his younger brother, and so they were. They were doing a visit, and then they'll be right back because then we had a planned baby shower for our upcoming baby that weekend. Yeah.
So wakatoka, wakakuaga?
Wakatoka, wakaniaga, and then you know, it was just another day. We had celebrated New Year. I still always think about that day. He had his backpack, unasema tu kwaheri. I was actually upstairs and I'm looking down and I'm like, we'll be right back. And he's like, okay. Obviously, they never came back. And, you know, they couldn't find him. So this was like around 5 in the morning. You know, it's winter, so it's kind of dark and cold, and not too cold because they were in Texas. But he's from Kenya. He's trying to navigate. Who do I call? He had called, not 911, but they routed him to public safety. So the highways, they all have public safety. That's something that I found out. And so I Googled and I called. And, you know, there was a really nice lady who I probably talked to her for maybe 2 hours. And I was just like, you have to find him, you know. We're doing everything to find him. So, and...
So let's come back to this, and I am understanding why we are going through this, but sasa I want to understand kutoka kwa bebe because sasa wewe ulikuwa bibi yake na umekuwa bibi yake. So wameenda Texas kusalimia relative. So what happened along the way?
So they ran out of gas. That's what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lakini ilikuwa tu normal gari.
It was just a normal car.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I think for whatever reason, and I've, you know, again, I don't want to go into too much details, but I've actually had the opportunity to review all the documents because we ended up in court, and so as a relative, they needed to provide me. I was able to find out so much information, but for whatever reason, and I'm not sure, because even today, even the lawyers we talked to, and I don't know we don't know what happened. But the thing was, he was on the side of the road, gari kamgonga. So that's just what it comes down to. There's so many details that, you know, obviously, but that's pretty much what it was.
Okay.
But because it was dark and everything, you know, they couldn't find him easily until, because it's dark. And they actually, you know, the highway guy that I talked to several times is like, I have gone down, up and down 5 times, ma'am, I can see him. Is there anywhere else he could have gone? I don't know.
So now the brother, when you walikuwa naye alikuwa ameachwa kwa gari?
Yes.
Akaambiwa wacha niende nikatafute mafuta.
Yep, I'll be right back. Yeah. It's cold, wewe umetoka Kenya. Keep an eye on the car, it's gonna be okay. I can see the lights ni hapa too. It wasn't like the town is right there. So yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, so the brother, alijuaje the brother is not coming back? After waiting for how long?
That was probably, it was a few hours. It was, 5 a.m., so 4:30, 4:45. I want to say Mwangaza, what was that, like 6? Because I know we looked at the time, the sunrise, because it was so about 2 hours.
Because I realized the brother is not coming back.
The police were there already, they found him, and so he could see njia imeanza kufungwa, right? And then the guy has to come tell him.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's the one who broke the information to you?
No, no, he's not. He couldn't. He was very, you know, heartbroken. Obviously, as you can imagine. So I was in touch with the lady. Her name was Beth. She was in that office here, public safety, and I kept calling her. And so, and at some point I could hear the tone imebadilika. I think probably before they notify relatives, somebody already knows something, but they have protocols of notifying relatives, right? And so, so I called my brother 3 times, my brother-in-law 4 times, akushika simu, and I already knew something is up. Then I called the lady again, and the lady was so nice. She's like, yeah, I have to go home because shift yake imeisha, but I just want to stay on the phone with you. Is there someone you can call? And I'm like, why? She couldn't tell me. But, you know, at that point, I'm already, you know, crying, and she could just say, it's okay, take care of the baby, because I had so many conversations with that lady that night. Every time I called, I'm like, I'm having a baby. I don't know what I'm going to do if you don't find him. So, so he had come from Kenya, tumetoka vacation. I'm supposed to report to work because in 2 weeks I was gonna leave. So I was going to finalize my paperwork ndio niende. So that day it was important that I show up to work. Sasa mimi, I don't know. I call his best friend. His best friend, niko naye kwa simu pia. I'm like, we can't find him. And so I'm driving to drop off my child to daycare. Hii sasa ni karibia saa moja na. But my brother-in-law had called my sister, or someone had called my sister lives here. But long story short, he called his brother in Kenya, who called me. So I had like 2 missed calls, and I pulled over and I answered the phone, and he told me, you know, just pull over. I said, I am. And he told me Alan is not there anymore. So yeah, my brother-in-law in Kenya did let me know.
Where?
Yeah.
And I can imagine now you are pull over uko mahali sasa. What happened? Ulifanya aje sasa?
Mimi hata sometimes I don't even remember. I feel like the whole year 2019 was a blur. Like, to tell you the truth, sometimes I feel like I don't even know how I got through the year. So my first thought was to go back and get my child. For that, I don't know, at that moment I just needed someone, right? And so my sister is like, I'm coming to get you. And I say, no, I'll go back. This was after I was stuck there for like an hour. I just sat there. You know, it's very difficult, you know, and it was so much pain. And I just remember, you know, with my unborn child, who it's almost like she kept hugging me with every tear, and she could hug me. And so she went and picked up my baby, and then I went back home. And I went back home, and so my best friend, their family, my brother, everybody was there. was coming already. So yeah.
I'm very sorry about that. No, now the whole process had to take to move on, like the burial, na hiyo wakati wote sasa.
Getting him here finished. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot, because you know, as you think about life here, I've never married anybody here. I've never actually been to a funeral home before that. I went to a funeral home for maybe once for a friend's funeral, and I've never. And now here I am, signing the paperwork, picking out coffins. It was a nightmare. It was just like, I had a good friend of mine, and we needed to go to the cemetery where we were going to bury him. So here I am, very pregnant, with my friend who's a man. Tumeenda, and this guy comes out, alafu anasema, are you picking a plot for yourself? So they were thinking, sisi tumekuja sasa, tutafute mahali ambayo tutazikwa. I was like, oh, I wish that I am here to find a plot for my husband. And so it is a very painful, it's a very difficult, painful process. You never want to go through it, especially at that age, and what we were getting ready to celebrate. But there's some amazing funeral home directors. The one I had, they were all incredibly amazing.
Right.
You know, just it was so sad, and they just could feel for us, and so they made the process really easier, and not easy in a sense, but very caring, and so we got through it. We got through it.
So ulipata nafasi ya kumuona wewe mwenyewe?
No, I did not get to see him, because with everything that has happened, everybody cautioned me that it's probably best that I remember him the way I remembered him. Okay. And so even his brother and I chose to not see him. So we chose to remember him the way he was. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you are a very strong woman. So now after the burial, mtoto ulipata sasa? After
the burial, mtoto nikapata, the baby came, and it was such a beautiful time, because you know, it's almost like God restored something that we had lost. He took his life, but he gave us Nyla. He gave me Nyla, and so the baby came, and we started life. I have my other 2-year-old, so it was the 3 of us, and my sister came through to help me during that whole year. Yeah.
So every time ulikuwa unaona huyu mtoto,
you could just see Alan, and she looks exactly like him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but there's just so much, there's so many tears you could cry, you know what I mean?
I can imagine.
And I think as a mother, you just have to remember, because, you know, there were times it was so sad. It was so sad. Like, sometimes I couldn't even take care of the baby, right? And so I'd get up and I'd see my little one, ameweka viti tatu, najaribu kufika kwa fridge kuchukua juice. You can't live like that. At some point, you're like, what are you going to do, right? You have no choice. And so I needed to do better. I needed to snap out of it and just really know that I had a job to do, and I have little people looking up to me. So,
you're right.
Yeah.
So the community during that time, because now Wakenya wetu ni wale tu.
Wakenya wetu ni wale
kuna wale watakusupport, kuna wale wataongea mambo mengine. So hiyo situation ilikuwa namna gani?
It was a combination. I will say though, other than, you know, afterwards, because at that point mimi nilikuwa just autopilot, right? The community came through for me. The thing is, Alan was actually one of the first Kenyans in this community. So hakuna Mkenya utakutana na yeye that Alan did not touch their life in one way or another.
Right.
And so I felt the love of the community. They came through for me as best as I could. Obviously, kuna wengine, they just didn't show up, right? For whatever reason, maybe kulikuwa na mambo. But the way I remember that story and the way I remember that situation is, Jeremy, for every one person that doesn't show up for you, there's going to be 50 that God is going to bring your journey.
You're right.
It is a fact. Me, I know that. And the funny thing is, some of these relationships, you know, as a Kenyan couple in a Kenyan community, kulikuwa tuna wale watu wenye I used to tell my husband, hata say if he was to come back, I'll be like, I was never wrong about this. And so that's also very important, to build intentional relationships that you know, not only are they going to benefit from you in your life, that in your death, they're going to show up. Not so much hata kwa funeral, but they're going to show up. Like in the case of my husband, aliacha watoto wadogo, right? So there's many ways you can show up as a mentor, as a friend of that family. And you know, Wakenya wanadhanianga tu maybe ni pesa ama ni nini mtu anatafuta. It's more than that. And so there was a lot that didn't, but overall I felt the love, I felt I felt the embrace and the warmth of friendship. Whether that's from friends, from relatives, from my church community ambayo actually ni ya wazungu. And from community like Kenyan women in Madison, right? And Kenyan women in the US, those women came through for me. I never had to spend the money on diapers because they made sure they provided my child with diapers. And so there was a lot of strangers that came through. And so I felt like a community carried me. And they did carry us through that 1 year.
Glory to God.
Yes.
So now 5 years down the line.
5 years down the line.
I mean, unajua ukiwa mdogo, everybody has a dream that I want to have my family, mzee wangu, watoto wangu. Now 5 years down the line.
Almost 6.
6 years. Wewe na watoto wako. Now, do you think like, I mean, now, una feel namna gani at this time?
So right now, I feel like we all have a journey that we walk through in life, and I am exactly where I feel like God had planned for me. I am exactly where I should be. As much as we are in denial, as much as you hoped I should have, I could have, he shouldn't have done this, but I feel really, really, really good. I feel very hopeful. You know, we have a very nice life, me and my kids, surrounded by amazing friends that we built over the years, and my family, my brother and my sister here with my brother-in-law, so we actually have relatives who are first-hand, and so I feel really, really great, and I know, you know, the family now for me and for any other mother out there who has children in wadogo and their girls, I think that family, it has to be very well carved out now, right?
Yes.
You know, biological fathers, they're just biological fathers. Great biological fathers like my late Alan, you know, that's also a bigger blessing.
Right.
But then now when you're starting to restart and you're starting to carve out this new family, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of prayers and patience, and most importantly, really being able to identify that, because it can't just be anybody, right? It can't just be anything. So we feel really good. We are so blessed. We have an amazing life now. You know, and so we thank God, and we're just gonna keep going and see what the future brings.
Glory to God. So you know, so many times when something like that happens, watu wengi sana niseme either ni wazee wa mama, they end up to depression.
Yes.
Others take their life.
Yes.
Because they feel now like huyu ameenda, sasa sina haja ya kuishi. So now here you are, you say life is good now. This simple question, what keeps you going? What is that thing that keeps telling you that, hey, Nashpa, you got to do this?
You gotta do this. Yeah. First, I wanna say it was my children. I can tell you, I don't. If I wasn't pregnant, I feel like things would have been different.
Right.
Kwa sababu hapa hata ukienda kwa daktari, kitu ya kwanza, like my doctor, hizi madawa zote amekupatia, you name it. Sasa mimi, I was sitting there like, sasa utakunywa dawa aje na kuna mtoto? I breastfed my child for 2 years, so there was no way ningekunywa hiyo dawa, right? And I always feel like, not that dawa ni mbaya, but if you're just a normal person and you look at na maisha yako, all of a sudden something like that happened, you have no choice. You'll practically lose your mind. And so I get the medication and you're medicated, and that's probably where some of the journeys that go sideways in Anzia hapo. But I think for me, really, my children, my girls, they keep me grounded. They have brought so much sense of purpose and passion, and so they are my number one. And I've said a lot of prayers to God. I mean, I'm a strong believer. I grew up in church.
Right.
And so I have had to rely more on God. I've had to really hold on to Him, to tell Him, that was, you know, your purpose, and now here we are, I'll let you guide you. And so many days, tunakuwa kanisani, I love to run, and so I usually tell people that 2020, I got through most of my depression through running, 100 miles a month, 20 miles a day, I don't care, I just go running. And you can sit there and have a pity party every day.
You're right.
The life moves on. Ukitegemea marafiki wenye wamekuacha, ulia hapo, shauri yako. Ukitegemea relatives, some of Alan's relatives, hata tu watu wenye walikuwa na consider relatives, they abandon you, right? What are you gonna do? Shauri yako. And so I've had to really have honest conversations with me. It's a normal process of life. Here is a job for you to do. There's nothing you can do. And so you gotta get it together, find the strength, and then keep it going. And I have to say this as well, because I always think as a mother, kama kuna siku yenye singeweza kulisha watoto wangu, provide a roof over their head, that's really bad. That's difficult, right? And so, and part of the reason why I wanted to do this actually is because, you know, if I was dependent on my husband, and you know, we had a very nice life together, but if I was just there, kama mimi sikukuwa na anything for myself, I probably would have ended up in a different trajectory as well.
Right.
And I think as women, as partners, always have something for you, because your partner, while they are perfect and they're here, they might not be here tomorrow. And so I think also that stability where, you know, atutalala njaa, you know, has given me time to reflect and think and build on our emotional strength and build on our mental strength and create a purpose and a future for me and my children.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that's a good one because as you have said, wamama wengi ni wale tunaitanga ni housewives.
Housewives.
Unakuta mtu anakaa tu nyumbani just in case something happen. Unakuwa sasa kwa darkness.
Unakuwa kwa darkness and then you're going to be really struggling because everybody is struggling. Relatives are struggling, friends wana struggle hata kukuliko. Nani atakusaidia?
So amuka ufanye kazi.
Yes.
So now as we wind up, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back I want you to tell me now watoto wako, because the first one was 2 years when the
she's almost 8 now.
Now she's 8 years.
Yes.
Of course mtoto wa miaka 2 anajua dad.
Yes.
So kuna siku anakuulizanga and of course now you know you are young, beautiful, well hakuna kitu kimekuzuia ku move to the next level.
Exactly.
Do you ever think like one time if God allows utapata jiko?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, lakini tukirudi naitwa Jeremy Damaris. Welcome back. Tuko na Nash Pai hapa. A very beautiful name. So nimekuuliza swali.
Yes.
Sijui utachagua kujibu gani kwanza.
All right. I think I'll start with my kids because they make me so happy.
Right.
So Ava was 2.5 years old.
Yes.
She was 2.5 wakati she passed away, or he passed away. And they both remember their dad.
Wow.
And it's an intentional memory I want to keep for them. You know, where we have there's a beautiful headstone that I made for him, and we spent a lot of money.
Right.
It was really nice because actually for the cemetery where he is, they only have zile either bench ama ile unajua ile ya chini yenye unaiona.
Right.
Anything else yenye ilikuwa upright, it's reserved for veterans. But then the guy was like, you know, if you're willing to do this, I'll let you guys have that lot. Because I wanted to have a beautiful upright stone for him.
Right.
And it's beautiful, it's big. He has one of our favorite pictures of him there. And so from the day, and that's another thing, you know, you don't realize that at some point in life, just visiting someone in a cemetery makes you happy.
Yes.
And so the first 3 years, 4 years, even now, my kids at the grocery store, onanga maua, oh, take this to Papa, Papa Alan, and they call him his name. It's so beautiful. And so I kept those memories of him for my children. And so they know who their dad is.
Right.
Where it comes to death, mdogo, sahi ndio wanaanza kuelewa, because we actually did therapy with my little one, and you know, the lady had to explain what does death mean, right? Because in their little mind, it's like, is he never coming back? So now finally, they're at an age where they understand that people die. They don't know exactly how. They know dad died in an accident in a car, and so, but they love their dad. They remember their father. With our relatives. You know, my grandma, huyu ni mama ya mama, and that's my dad's mom.
Right.
You know, uncle who into Papa Alan's brother. And so I keep those memories for them, and they love and miss their dad. You know, just like Shuleni sometimes, you know, the little one will say, I wish my dad was here. I know Lily's dad was here. And those things you just have, you know, I usually tell them, Mommy is dad and mom, and Uncle Peter and Uncle Josh, you know, we are my brothers.
Yes.
And so we try to make it nice and fun so they're not sad. Of course, they're still young.
Yes.
So we don't know how that's going to come about. We don't know how the future holds and how they will respond, but I think we are, you know, they're doing pretty well for considering everything that's happened.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now the other one, sasa ama ulifunga chapter.
No, hapana. Yeah, I think, you know, it is, being a single mom is hard.
Yes.
You know, people really underestimate how much a partner anakusaidia. You know, I talk to some of my friends and I'm like, oh, I'm so frustrated. Sasa ungekuwa na mtu unaenda nyumbani utapiga kelele for an hour na kusikiza. There's a lot of strength in companionship. There's, you know, as human beings, I think we're all supposed to do that. And I am open to that prospect, you know, iko mambo, but you know, like I said, my children will come first, because now Sasa tunafikiria is it a date for you ama ni date ni ya watoto, right?
Yes.
What kind of father figure they'll be for my children. Na utaki pia, you know, stepfather mwenye maybe anaweza fanyia watoto vibaya ama watese.
Right.
I don't want that. Afadhali hata tu sasa tukaa hivyo. So I am praying to God to guide me in some of, you know, when that time comes that I'm willing to now bring that person officially into our home, then I pray to God that is the right choice.
Right.
Yes.
So
and that's
going
to be good.
Ayuko tayari ama bado?
Sidhani ako tayari kabisa.
So you're still there kwa magoti.
Yeah, bado ako hapo kwa. Yeah, I don't think sidhani, you know, it's difficult.
I know.
I can tell you. Ukionanga, I know some ladies, you know, when you either through divorce or death, mpaka leo hii they've never, because of the children.
Yes.
Sahi me if I was single probably tungekuwa harusi number 3. Not that tulikuwa tupite tu, but yeah, those things. But once you start navigating watoto, how they'll fit into your career life, financial life, parenting life, right? Especially in this country where even parenting children is it's a fine line we are walking in terms of the values and the morals you want to instill on these children. So I'm praying to God that whatever decision in the end that I make that is going to be good for my children is going to be a positive influence.
Amen.
Yes, amen.
I mean, this is a very good testimony and of course an inspiration story, because I know kuna mtu labda pale saizi amejifungia kwa nyumba, anasema kulifanyika hivi, I don't think I have strength to move on, but at least for you now, venye unaongea na hiyo courage na kusema no, it happen, Mungu mbele, you have to keep going.
You have to keep going.
Yes,
you have to keep going. Yeah, there's so many tears, but in the end, you have to keep going. And I remember him with so much love. Now, you know, I used to pray to God that I just want to remember him without so much pain and tears. And I think we are there where we remember him so much love and thank God for the time we shared with him.
So kuna ile mtu anaambiwa now if you are given an opportunity to change things, I mean, useme now me kama nashpai nimepewa nafasi nibadilishe mambo. What would you do first?
Mambo kama?
Tuseme sasa umepewa nafasi uambiwe either you reset your life again, ama you start from, I mean, what would you do?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a very difficult question because I would, if you mean taking Alan back, I will obviously reset to that because, you know, he was such a beautiful person and he was good and, you know, for and to us and we were good to each other. And so, but, you know, we all have things we could change, right? We have things we could change, you know, careers we would have pursued better, you know, decisions we would have made. And so there is a lot, and I don't want to say I regret anything, because that's not going to help, right? I'm grateful for the journey of life that I'm on, and I'm hopeful for what the next phase brings. So yeah, I don't know that, because resetting, you know, I will take my husband back anytime.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, do you ever think like now trying to start a program of, I mean, kusaidia watu ambao wanaenda through grief, mambo kama hayo, mtu ni mjane, amekuwa mjane akiwa at her early age. I mean,
I've thought a lot about that. I thought a lot about that. I want to do that. I want to start a safe place, whether that, you know, safe place for women where they can know that you can get through. Safe place even for younger girls, right? And so I am thinking about that. You know, it's hard to juggle a full career with a full-time parenting, but that's my hopes that I can start a non-profit organization. I have a YouTube channel. I haven't done much, but I plan to really engage with a lot of women. I even on Facebook, just interacting with a lot of them because my story went viral, and every day, Jeremy, I have so many hundreds of messages where women are like, how did you make it through? And so, I mean, I talk to so many women, how did you make it through? I haven't made it through, but I think, you know, we are doing okay. We are healing because it's a healing process.
I
don't think you can ever get there and say tumefika, but I think it's a beautiful journey where you can see how far you've come and where you're going. And so that is my plan. You know, I'm sharing my platform on social media and hopefully see where God guides me as to how do we really connect and find and meet those people wherever they are.
Awesome. So just in case mtu anataka kuconnect na wewe, maybe you can give us a contact. And of course I want to give you that Camela. You speak to that lady who is giving up. Probably not kwa sababu ame lose partner.
No.
She's going through hard time.
Exactly.
That gentleman is going through hardships. Waongelesha dakika moja.
Exactly. So and like I said, you know, loss comes in different ways. Loss even, you know, career paths where they don't go very well, loss through family breakups, and that could be separation, divorce, and of course losses like myself of death, which is the ultimate. But you cannot give up. You cannot give up. Within each of us is so much strength, so much strength that you might not even ever recognize. And so keep your eyes where things matter and keep your eyes on God. I will say that because I have had to rely on God. Find your purpose in your relationships and without those relationships, because if you can tap onto those, you'll be able to find you'll be able to find your place. And so I want to encourage you, as a single mom, as a single dad, a single person, a grieving person, that you're not alone and you'll get through this. It might not look like it, but you look back and see how much stronger you are and how far you've come.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Email?
Yes, so the easiest way, you can find me, Eve Nashipai. Follow me on Facebook, Eve Nashipai on Instagram. Twitter nasikia, not Twitter, but TikTok, Eve Nashipai. And yeah, I think you can find me there, YouTube, Eve Nashipai. So everywhere Eve Nashipai, just find me and we'll be able to connect there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Eve.
Thank you so much.
God bless you so much for sharing your story with me.
You too.
Nimeshukuru sana.
Karibu.
Mungu azidi kukuinua sana na kukupa amani na akufungulie milango.
Absolutely.
Ndio uendelee kutia nguvu watu wengi.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mimi naitwa Jeremy Damares and I know you are inspired. Tafadhali amuka, inuka, jipanguze, songa mbele, because kule mbele kuna mambo mazuri sana. God bless you all the way from Wisconsin.
Yes.
Inaitwa State of Daily.
State of the Dairy Land.
Maziwa ni mingi.
Kabisa.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bless you.